Hey, Chris.
Hey, can you see me?
Oh man, you're in outer space. Look at that.
Aren't we all right now in some form or fashion?
Absolutely,
How you doing
absolutely.
today, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Where are you coming us from? From Nashville? From Philadelphia? Where are you?
Uh, I'm actually based in Nashville and San Francisco, but I'm in North Carolina just kind of
Ah,
checking on family, making sure they're good. It's been, as I'm preaching to the choir. I'm sure we've all had our challenges during this time, so I'm just making sure everybody's all right and trying to navigate on these curious seas, brother. Definitely.
absolutely, absolutely, Chris. Well,
Yeah.
listen, and thank you so much for your time. Let me introduce you to my
Thank
audience
you for
really
your
quickly because oh yeah, let me introduce you to our audience really quickly because you're a singer, you're a songwriter, producer, bassist, guitarist, man. You're a photographer. You do it all, my man. But you are the leader of the Neverlutionaries, which is a
yes,
psychedelic
sir.
alt rock band that has your first self-titled EP coming out in January. But your first single's coming out soon. I had a chance to listen to it. It's absolutely fantastic, Ariana. So
Thank
congratulations for
you.
this
Thank you so much. It officially debuted today. And
today.
thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for feeling it, man. It was my all my music comes from a really deep part of my being and who I am. You
Yeah,
know.
man. Well, that's then you're a really interesting and complex guy then, because it is an atmospheric track. It's beautiful. It has thrilling production, great vocals. You did a killer job, man. We've been jamming to it all
Thank
day.
you so much. Thank you so much. It wasn't just me. I mean, it's the whole team. I did that at Hyde Street Studios C in San Francisco, where a plethora of incredible records have been made. Everybody from Tupac to the Grateful Dead to Crazy Yay. I didn't say that. And lots of people, and had producer Jameson Durr at the
Yeah.
helm, and Chris McGrew on drums, and he and I have done a lot of stuff over the years, and had just a wonderful cast. It's almost kind of like the Super Friends. Like
Absolutely, Chris.
everybody has like a talent.
Amazing. When you're recording a space like this, Chris, is there whenever we talk to someone who's recording Sun Studios in Memphis or something like that, or like you said, is there something special in the air? Do you feel something in the walls?
Um, you feel it in the walls, you feel it in the air. It's palpable. And I remember the first time I went there several years back to sit in on a session. Ironically, that Jameson, who's doing pretty much my producer at this point now, he was working on another session with this guy Ryan Hickey, and Ryan's the guy playing piano on the track. And our friend Pamela was there, and it was just going to this place and walking in these hallowed halls. And there are different rooms, and there's all these platinum records hanging up, and all these pictures of these incredible musicians, luminaries that have been through there and recorded. That, to be honest, when I was doing this, I kind of did my little thing on a couple of people's other tracks. But when it came to doing this, once we got in there, it was really kind of not overwhelming, but there's a lot of magic there. Going back, not to get off track, there's so much magic and beauty there, and everyone, like the whole clique that we have in San Francisco, everyone is so talented and so positive. And it's like, hey, I need a flugelhorn on the track. He's like, I know a flugelhorn player, dude, and he could be here in an hour. And everybody's so supportive. Where a couple of the other scenes I've been in, it wasn't, you're going to get that support, but it wasn't as deep as this support is. And it's just like being able to create magic in a magical place. And it was kind of interesting story about the song. Johnny Extell, who's a dear friend of mine, and he was in a really awesome band back in the day called Psychofunkaplis. And our old bands met each other back in the day, and that's how we met. And Psychofunkaplis actually did their debut record in High Street Studio C. And he recorded there once more. And the last time he tracked in the room was the day of the earthquakes in San Francisco.
Oh
So
wow,
the
that's
first day
great.
he was, right? So the first day he was even back in the studio, it was like this vibe of him coming in and kind of reliving a part of his, past. And then that energy, and it was just like that coupled with the natural energy that the room is producing anyway, was just phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Wow, unbelievable, Chris. That's a heck of a story. Thanks for sharing that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, no problem.
absolutely, absolutely, man. So Chris, we're approaching the last 3 months of the year. Um, how would you characterize basically when you look back at 2020 now? How would you characterize this year for you?
Ugh. Controlled chaos and feigned controlled chaos, because everything is just so strange now. Just from the fact that, especially with people in my field, we can't go and play music in front of people. And touring is a large part of being able to make a living. So there have been challenges, of course, financially, and then just not knowing and just being in the mystery. And I would just categorize it as beautiful and scary. For me, it's been a little bit of both,
Yeah,
because I was able to start working with a great label in Polychromatic Records.
right.
And I'm sorry, we are Polychromatic Records. I'm sorry, but and that's been beautiful in the creation process of the record. It's been beautiful, and just getting together all these wonderful friends of mine. I have, like I mentioned, Chris McGrew on there, Ryan Hickey, Johnny XL. I even have famed rock and roll legendary guitar player Kenny Olson on there.
Yeah,
I got, and and
heck of a
have Nick
band.
Bagley on, and it's just been wonderful. But
Amazing.
then on top of all that beauty that's happening, it's been different for me, because I'm a pretty ballsy cat, and now I
Yeah,
find myself fearful of just basic existence stuff, like especially being kind of based down south now, at least until this blows
yeah,
over and I'm comfortable getting back to the west side. But
sure.
there's a fear there, because I have to get. It's not just like getting in the car like, okay, I'm gonna go get some milk. I'm like, do I really need this milk? Is it
Yeah,
worth my
you're right.
milk?
Everything is
And
like that.
that's
You're
something.
right.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I mean, ironically, I was talking to a lot of friends about how, and I'm going to get political. I have to speak my truth. How our country is pretty much being led in a ship with no rudder, no sail. That sucker's just kind
Right.
of spinning now in a whirlpool, like somebody,
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah,
cleaning the swamp. And ironically, today, what happened this morning, I get a text from a dear friend of mine, Kim, and right when I was about to get to sleep, he's like, ding, ding, ding. He's like, the boy has the rope. And I was like, oh, what?
mm,
And it goes, there's a irony, like I don't wish bad on anyone, because first and far between, before I'm a African American or a man, I'm an earthling and I'm a human being. So I
right.
don't wish that on anybody. But sometimes when people put out so much negative energy and something comes back like that, especially right when he's needed to come in and galvanize and, pull all the yahoos together and let's make this last push. We got to do it. And now I was like, make the push, man. Just
Right.
there'll be a gazillion dumbass tweets and all kinds of stuff. But just living in that, I've never lived with that fear before, where people have been emboldened. And I've had things happen, like even when he got in office several years ago, there were people pulling up to me down south,
Yeah.
I had people kind of do really wrong things and say some mean things. And
You felt the shift.
yeah, it's a shift. And that's why, if
Yeah.
nothing else, even circling back around to this track, it's almost like an escape, because everything right now was so intense that I believe in timing and things coming and becoming when they should. And I think everything's timing for this is perfect. Even like
Yeah.
ironically, the day it comes out, the news comes out. This is a vibey, laid back song. It's
Yeah.
something you can
It's
like
beautiful.
hang out to with your boys and like, oh, that's kind of dope. If you're sitting there
Mm,
kicking it with your you can put it in another gear or put it in reverse if you're not really with your thing.
Right.
But it's for everybody. It doesn't have any color. It's, that's what I love about music and what I hate about the definitions and trying to put people places because you can't figure out what to call them. So you get put here,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
with me, for instance, I'm an African-American guy. I'm going to start referring to myself now as an earthling, but I get instantly thrown in with Living Color,
Yeah.
who I love, and are friends of mine, wonderful guys, known them for years. King's X, same thing. Lenny Kravitz. But I sound nothing like any of these bands. But
Right.
because people are so, in their definitions, they're not as wanting to go deep and they're really shallow when it comes to something quick. Oh, you're like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's that.
Right.
But it's,
Right. Right.
if I was a guy that was blue, then who in the hell would they put me in with?
You're right. Yeah, right. Especially in this industry, we hear a lot, and like a lot of critics and a lot of people in my peers, the first thing they want to do is be like, well, it's Radiohead meets Coldplay or whatever. Like they immediately go to these like stereotypes, these boxes. You're spot on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, Chris, that's a
And
lot.
it,
That's a
and
lot
it
of work.
actually, yeah, it actually detracts from the art because people are
Mhm.
all hyped up on, oh, what does it sound like?
Right.
Instead of letting the music make you feel something. Like literally, if I didn't have music in my life, I,
Yeah.
it would be a very different existence because it's literally been a friend that I can go to, a confidant, a psychiatrist. It's therapeutic. And in my healing, if I can give light and healing to someone else, then it just goes beyond, it's like, it's about something higher than this.
Yeah.
Like if I can create a song and make people feel and, make someone cry, make someone laugh, or make someone reminisce and go back, that's
Yeah.
an amazing thing. Because most
Yeah.
people today are trying to make you feel shit. They're just
True.
trying to make, they're just so caught up in trying to be in with this crowd and in with that crowd and so focused on these outside things that we forget about the oneness in ourselves and what we are to be and why we're here. We're here to be, we're supposed to be different. We're not supposed to be all alike. What fun would that be? But it's a way to grow. And it's like you have different music, different people, different systems, different religions. And my thing is like, I welcome people that are different because it's learning. And I can learn from someone else's experience. And I think that's a treasure. And it's kind of hard for me to kind of see how people take that as like a scary thing. And I've met people that were like, man, you look kind of weird when I first met you, man. But you're actually a really nice guy. I'm like, judge with your ears and with your heart.
Yeah.
And then let your eyes be secondary or thirdary, if that's a
Oh
word.
man, absolutely, Chris. No, thank you for sharing that. And it's fitting that you have that wall drop because we are. I mean, look, like we are all specks in this gigantic universe, and it's like it's all this. We're all just humans, like you said. We're all just humans. The rest was created by us. Borders, this and that,
Mm-hmm.
but man, and yeah, we're all just specks in this universe. Yeah.
Yeah. We got the planet screaming. People are like, the ice caps are melting because it's hot. It's like, no, that's like when you wound something, it bleeds. When you hurt something, it's affected, you
Oh man,
know? And so
yeah,
what's happening to the planet? You got people like, let's go. We want some diamonds. Let's just dig and destroy the way everything's supposed to be balanced so we can make some money and then crap on the futures of people. But no one thinks about that. And so I think people should get back to what really matters, especially in times like this when, you know, life is a gift, man. Life is truly a
absolutely,
gift. And
absolutely.
at the end of the day, it's like, why sweat the small stuff? I've even been during this pandemic, everyone has a past and hopefully we all shift and change.
Yeah,
And I've been reaching out to people that maybe, we didn't leave the last conversation or interaction in a positive place. And of course you have to balance them because some people, you got to leave them behind.
Right.
you know. But some things, it's like your ego or being, stubborn, and you're missing out on the experience of someone, like especially like a friend, like a real friend. And it's been a great time for introspection. So to kind of circle back around to the theme of this, it's that fear. It's
Totally.
I'm trying to be like I'm strong, but I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
You got to feign like you're cool and like it's normal. You're like yeah. You're like I love doing these interviews from my living room. Man, it's great. It's great. I don't get to go to Plasma anymore and get like a nice drink and meet people down there like I used to. So it's thrown essentially like a wrench in a lot of plans. But if
Yeah.
we stick by our core, like people are spending more time together, and it can be good and bad because half the people I know, they're coming together closer like couples, and the rest of them are splitting apart.
Yeah.
But hey, that's a good thing because you're not wasting any more time because it's like, man, you ain't getting any more of that shit. you know?
Absolutely. I can attest to
Because
that,
to
Chris.
the
I got a divorce in April. I spoken on my show about it a couple of times, but listen, like you said, it's just accelerated.
but
Yeah, the growth.
I'm preaching to the choir though, but at that time it gives you because people have that balance of like, well, when I'm there, she's not there. And then when she's there, I'm not there. And then we see each other on the weekends, but then I'm doing this
Right.
compared to like, I got you every day.
Oh
And the
man.
thing that makes you kind of, oh shoot. you know? But it's a weird time for sure, man. Like I feel kind of, this is wonderful just to put this music out, but
Yeah.
I want to play it for,
Yeah.
and
I was going to
but I
ask you
guess the
about
new
that.
thing.
Are you missing the stage? Like, how has that shift been for you?
That shift has been it's hard, man. I've been performing since I was
Yeah.
5 or 4 years old when I did my
Right.
first performance. And so it's been something that's been a constant in my life
Yeah.
and just going places. And I like to travel anyway. I'm a bit of a gypsy per se. I like to do my thing and go
Right.
different places. And I just want to experience and enjoy life. And when you take, it's like a bird and you just cut that joker's wings off. I'm like, here, hang out in this cage and look at the outside where you used to fly and dream about that shit, because it's weird.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, it's a tricky thing because I want to get out there, and that's part of it. Part of it is the human experience of connecting with the song and being in the club and that energy. You've been there where either it's like a little tight club and it's so hot and stuff that people's deodorant's starting to fail, but the music sounds so great
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't
and you're
matter.
dancing
Oh yeah.
that it doesn't matter. And so
Absolutely,
these are
man.
those little things that people are thinking about now that they were, taking for granted
Yeah.
a few months ago,
Yeah.
you know? Like I remember like walking around when I was finishing up the record, walking around San Francisco, and I went and ate some seafood at my little spot, and something was like, soak it up in, sucker. and something was just telling me like, hey man, it might not, it's gonna get weird. I just had this weird thing,
Yeah.
even with like the name of it. I was talking to Johnny Axtell on the phone, and honestly, I don't think if he came up with the name or I came up with the name, but it's debatable. But we were just talking about it's like an evolution, like something's kind of boiling up. And then now, ironically, when it's done, so much has shifted because we
Yeah.
started this recording this like, geez, like the 20th of December or something,
Yeah.
you know? And because you just have to like studio schedules, this and that. But it's like, and now the world's in such a different place. And there's even one track on the record called "Everybody's Sitting Around Losing Their Minds,"
Mm.
and the chorus was "Everyone's sitting around losing their minds, thinking about the end of the world."
Yeah. Yep.
And I didn't release that song first because it might have been like, did this dude just write this song to freak us out? But
Right.
I literally wrote the song a year ago.
A year ago. Right.
But
You're
it's
you're
like,
like ahead of the curve. Yeah.
See, I need to be smart and write a song like Chris is gonna get $10 million, and next
Yeah.
year I can be rich. You
Yeah, it
know?
seems like it, man. Oh, that's great. Well, listen, like live music is gonna come back, and it's just I know it's been hard for you, and it's been hard to a lot of artists, but it will come back, and I think it's gonna be better than ever, Chris, because there's gonna be a newfound appreciation from everybody, from the artist to the security to the photographer to the fan, man. It's gonna be another level, Chris. I really do believe that, and like watching you perform is gonna be awesome. So we can't wait for
It's like
that,
the
man.
hunger.
Absolutely, Chris.
Oh, thank you for
Absolutely.
listening.
Let me
Thank
ask you
you.
a little bit about your early beginnings, because I mean, you're an amazing musician and all that good stuff. But I want to ask you a couple things. So you grew up in Philadelphia, Chris.
Yes.
Lots of blues, gospel, soul, jazz around your life. Did you come from a musical family? I know your dad played football, and I do want to side ask you about that in a second. But where does this musical DNA come from?
Interestingly enough, my father played there. He grew up in St. Louis, Missouri.
Right.
And there was a guy named W.C. Handy who was called the godfather of the St. Louis blues.
Mm,
Huge legendary guy. Look that up. Do some historical type stuff.
okay. Cool.
But W.C. Handy did like a youth concert every year where he would get several promising musicians from different schools, have them kind of rehearse a few songs and perform. And my dad, I believe I think he was playing trumpet then. So he played trumpet. His father played saxophone. Then I have my cousin, rest in peace, uh, Bridget Wells Dabney, and she and my cousin Brandon Wells were putting records out, like doing hip hop records
Amazing. So your
back in
dad
the
played
early '80s.
linebacker for the Eagles and played trumpet.
Hmm.
Oh man, what a guy!
Yeah, he's something else, and thank goodness he's still with us. He's still
Mm,
with us. As
yeah,
he's dealing with a lot of things, a lot of players with some
sure.
Parkinson's and some Alzheimer's, but he's still the coolest dude I know, and talented. It's kind of it's growing up with a, that's a big shadow to fill into.
Yeah.
But my dad was always like, this was my thing.
Mm,
He's like, go out and do your thing, and whatever you do is like, if you want to be a garbage
I love it,
man,
man.
dude, just like be the trash picking this up mother effort they've ever seen,
I
but
love
just
it.
do your best. Do
I
your
love
best. And
it.
so that's something that, we have a family saying where there's a Wells, there's a way. And sometimes I do better living life behind the eight ball because unfortunately that's how you have to get used to adversity, and especially being a musician and trying to do the thing of fitting into like the typical 9 to 5 deal. And I've been there, done that, did pretty
Yeah,
well, but that's not my calling. I need to spend
right.
my time doing, making someone $1 gazillion at a IT company is not
In a
gonna
desk job, yeah, that's
not
not
gonna
you,
be a
man.
friend to someone that needs to hear a situation they relate to. So I think
No, absolutely not.
that value spiritually is greater than any financial value. It's
Absolutely. No,
almost like a gift and
hearing
a gift.
stuff like Ariana, that's your calling, man. That what a beauty you unleashed today on the world. That's no one can do that. That's a very that's a gift that like that you can give us. So yeah,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. And it means more to me than you ever know that you dig it. Because
oh,
kind of growing up down south, I kind of, how can I put this eloquently? I didn't get as much attention on my music as my counterparts because I was more of a kind of an anomaly.
yeah, you're ahead of the
I
curve.
was playing rock, I had this band called Peasants of the Apocalypse, and
Yeah, and you
we
opened
were
for
up in
Metallica, for a bunch of really great bands. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
Def
man.
Leppard, we were, this weird thing, but it was like going back to where people don't know where to put you. Like
Yeah,
even if a label would have signed us, who in the hell would they put us on the road
oh
with?
man, Chris, I got to
You
tell you,
know?
actually, I was just talking to a friend today because today is the 20th anniversary of Radiohead's album Kid A that was released in 2000. And when it came out, it was critically panned, destroyed.
I
It said,
love it.
what are these people doing? What the hell are they doing? You know what, Chris? They were 20 years ahead of the curve. And that's like exactly what you are. You know, that's what special folks are doing, man. It is what it is.
Thank you. I'm so, man, wow. I'm an emotional cat, but I'm not going to get choked up. But I just, when you have something in your heart and you hear these, I've been hearing these songs in my head since I was a little boy,
Yeah.
going around humming. Um, my big sister, Helene, was super responsible. She turned me on to Bootsy Collins and the
Oh.
Isley Brothers and Switch and Slave
And then you ended up playing with Kenny Olsen,
and
which is
then
which
yeah,
is
and then all this and then to come around and and I got linked up with Kenny. Actually, it's a cool story. I was in San Francisco and doing some recording and went to see this friend of mine, Pamela Parker, and her band playing. And Peter, his sister, rest her soul,
yeah.
she was the singer in Pam's band. So he was in town, I guess, and had a night off with Leonard Skinner. So he
Mm.
comes, to sit in on a couple songs, get his jam on.
Yeah.
And we were just backstage talking. And I guess he heard something interesting. He said, "Where are you from?" I'm like, been from Philly, but been down south most of my life. He was like, "What part of Raleigh?" And, North Carolina's like, "Yeah." Turns out we knew a couple people.
Hmm.
We just had a really cool vibe, and we're both Geminis, so that was kind of cool.
When's your birthday, Chris?
June 12th.
Nice. I'm a Gemini, May 28th.
Ah, so there's like 5 of us right now.
So I got you. Right.
But it was just amazing, just amazing.
Oh man, that's amazing. That's amazing. Let's talk about Ariana just for a second, Chris, because okay, we've said it's amazing, A plus, 5 stars, all that good stuff, and it is. But I want to talk about the concept, right? Because it's such a whimsical track. It's basically you captured a stunning sound here about like, and correct me if I'm wrong, falling in love, finding a higher sense of love in the universe. Like you captured it well, but give it to us in your words.
For me, it's like you said, the biggest thing in the universe that's most universal is love.
Yeah.
Without love, we don't procreate, we don't go on as humans. It would be nice if all children were born through love.
Right.
That's the concept. They should be. And Ariana for me is, I like to kind of meditate and go to these places. Like, how does this feel? What would it feel like if I finally found the one? Because I found the one, then it was a two, then a three, and then a four, then five. Never actually the one. And I think it's because a lot of people, especially like, when a lady dates a musician, especially if it's like a lifer, dude might be around for 2 weeks, he might be gone for a month, back and forth. And it's cool at first, but the very thing that attracts them to you will be the thing that ends up dispelling them from you.
Interesting. Interesting.
And that's kind of, so for me, I just kind of, and I'm a romantic man. I write a lot about love. I've had some of the most, I've been blessed with having a couple of the most amazing women I think that, have been created, be in my life, and teach me and teach my heart things and help me to grow, and
Beautiful.
keep me honest, and stop me to looking in the mirror, and
Yeah.
teach me to look more in people's eyes.
Oh man, Chris, that's great. Well, listen, Chris, I mean, look, you said it all, man. You said it all. Let's finish up with this because you've been so generous with your time. Thank you, Chris. But I want to ask you about just like all the social movements that have happened this year in the country, right? With Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and all the protests. And I wanted to ask you if you think that this is something that is going to stand until next year that has some legs in it? Or is this like an election year anomaly? What's your take on all this?
The system that we have isn't what we think the system actually is. And protests and stuff are nice, and people can get out and say their words. But when you have a system that's built against failures, and how can I put this so I don't sound like I'm speaking in puzzles? It's tricky, man, because I really, I've seen racism my whole life, and it was just something for me that you just kind of know it's there, and just kind of deal with it, and just kind of, it's like the elephant in the room. But at the end of the day, people going into the streets and protesting, in my opinion, I see where they're coming from, and I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this. Here I go again. But I think it has to be people that are behind the scenes, the people like in the media, the people like in Hollywood that have control of who gets to star in what, who gets to do what.
No, you're right.
It's those systems that are built. It's systems that are, built in musical systems like, let's take, Chris Wells, like he looks like Father Guido Sarducci from back in the day. Let's put him over here because it's easy. We have to it has to be someone within these systems. And we have to elect people and get people in office that care about people and that are humanist first before they're any party, that care about this people, Because I look at the world right now and I'm like, it hurts my heart, man. It hurts my heart.
Yeah.
Like just the fact that like people can look at me and don't even talk to me and can hate me. It's just perplexing as fuck.
Yeah.
Because they don't know. And at the end of the guy, they could miss out. Like I have a friend of mine, and we used to see each other out like a local watering hole, and the conversations got longer when I would see him more. Than he invited me over to his house, and he was like, "Man, can I tell you something?" He's like, "Man, my father told me that all Black people were evil and deceitful and bad. And my whole life, and at this time he was probably 30, I've thought that and kept that in my heart until I met you."
Wow.
And that's really cool on one way, but in another way, it's like, I'm not trying to be Uncle Remus's lessons in friendly racist, dealings. It has nothing to do about that.
Right.
It should be about, I'm a person. And that's why it's weird, man. It's like when I guess where I grew up in Philly, our neighborhood looked like a box of crayons, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like the big 64 pack.
Right.
When you can find off mauve green, or some new kind of color. There were so many different kinds of people. So I grew up, my mom was so awesome. She's so awesome. She was like, go to what church, if your friend is Catholic, go to Catholic church. And then your friend is Jewish, go to their bat mitzvah. Go.
That's great, man. That's awesome.
See what calls to your spirit and your soul.
Yeah.
You better believe the way I say you believe because I said it, because I said so. Oh, that to me is not good enough.
Woman. Yeah.
And she at least, and also in doing that, opened up my heart to so many different, like I have friends that are all over the spectrum, like country folks, city folks, gay, trans, maybe even some new stuff. Who knows? It's like I'm about people,
But like you said, like a box of Crayola, it fit in together. It was beautiful together, right?
Yeah, that box looks awesome compared to looking at a big ass box of white, gray, or black. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that analogy.
What's wrong with that? Draw like a night sky and just leave some spaces open for the stars.
I love it. Absolutely.
Stars.
Yeah. Oh my God, Chris, what a special guy you are. Listen, the Neverlutionaries, your self-titled EP, January 21st. Oh, can't wait. Can't wait to get the whole thing. I encourage everyone to listen to Ariana.
Spread the word, bro.
Oh, absolutely, man.
When it comes down here, I was down in your neck of the woods like about a year ago at
Really
the Fontainebleau.
nice. At the fountain, yep, yep. The historical hotel
That,
where Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack used to hang out and get in trouble. Yeah.
yes, and I was sitting there not getting in trouble. But it was that was actually like my first. Like I've been to Miami a couple times,
Yeah.
just like quickly, but it was like my first, getting entrenched in it. But I didn't get to do a whole lot. But I love that area down there.
Cool.
Definitely. So one day we'll have to link up when
Absolutely,
we can
Chris.
travel.
Oh, that'd be great. Well, listen, you're gonna be back on tour and you're gonna be rocking the crowds, and there's gonna be a hunger for your music, especially now after all the crap we're going through. So yeah, we will definitely link up with you. But if you ever want to come to South Florida, man, your energy is so welcome. We need your energy around here. So absolutely, we would love to have you.
I'm trying to give it to the world, bro. I'm trying to give it to the world, and it's like it sounds. Some people might say, "Oh, listen to that corny shit," but
The
it's
universe
not,
hears it,
man.
man. The
It's like
universe
someone
gets it.
has to make a spiritual investment in things in order to, inspire change. And if not, what's the point?
Chris, you got the right idea, man. You got the right idea.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Appreciate your time, Chris. Thank you so much. Take care, man. Have a great weekend, all right?
You too.